Hi, this is Paul from Outerloop Coaching and OuterloopCoaching.com. I'm here this week to talk about how to balance your job with your career in music. This is extremely important, especially if you're not yet at the point where your music career is paying your bills and you need to have a job that is your 9 to 5 while you're trying to build your music career. Please subscribe to the channel down below, like the video, give me some comments, anything, questions you've got, something that bothers you about what I say on this video, please let me know down below. I'm also interested to hear what it is that you want to see future videos about. Okay, let's dive in. First thing is that you need to, there's two things that are happening, right? There is your job, and your job takes your time. But then there is your music career, and your music career should take your focus. Now, every career, especially a career in music, takes 40 hours minimum to build, to do every week, week in, week out. Forget about vacations for a little while, okay? You don't need it. You have your focus on your music career 40 hours a week. Now, this doesn't include the time that you spend practicing, the time that you spend gigging, the time that you spend, unless you're on the road. When I talk about the time that you're spending building your music career, I'm talking about the time that you spend sending emails, doing your social media, contacting people in the industry, just hustling for media attention, hustling for more fans, hustling for Spotify playlists. All that stuff should take about or more 40 hours a week, and that requires focus. Now, you may need to do your job for 40 hours, 30 hours, 20 hours a week in order to just pay your bills, and probably, unless you're living in an area of that doesn't cost much to live, and you're doing the beans and rice every day, you got low rent, maybe even staying with parents or with a boyfriend or girlfriend who pays all the bills. Unless that's going on, it's probably going to take about 40 hours of that of your time just to cover your nut. And that means that is time you can't get back. And that is separate from the 40 hours you then spend on your music career. That's 80 hours. If you're doing the math, 5 days a week, 12 hours, that's only 60, right? So now you got to add in 10 more hours on Saturday and Sunday. It's a lot of time, plus your gigs, plus rehearsals. Oh man, forget about watching TV for a while. It's just not going to happen, right? So stay hungry. One great way to try to balance your career with your job is that you strip out all of your luxuries, everything that you consider a luxury, right? Have that get paid for by the profit that you get from your music, rather than anything left over from your job. This is pretty counterintuitive, but I like this as a concept. This will keep you really driven to try to make more money with your merch, with your gigs, with what little you do get from Spotify spins and the rest of it, right? If you are using all of that as the only way that you get those little luxuries, eating out, going to see a movie, stuff like that, that only comes from your music income. Well, that's going to keep you driven. Now, the balance of that is that you take the money that you get from your job, and then what's left over from paying your rent, putting food in your stomach, all the rest of the stuff that you absolutely need, the electricity, the internet bill, your phone bill, all that stuff, everything extra on that then gets reinvested into your music career. This is pretty counterintuitive. A lot of people will take the money that they've got from their music career and they'll reinvest that back into, and I think that like the gross sales, on merch, for example, the amount that goes towards cost, that should be reinvested into more merch. But the profit, consider putting the profit towards your little, the things that make you happy and keep you driven to keep on producing, to keep on trying to make more money with your music. So stay hungry. It's one great way to do it. I just mentioned different things, the way that you should reinvest the money that's left over extra from your job back into your music career. What are some really great things to do? I've got my favorite 3 things that you definitely should consider using as the things that you reinvest into your music career. Of course, there's instruments and equipment and all that, the softwares. Beyond that, the first thing I think you should reinvest in is producer. Now, I've got a previous video, and the link is right here over my head, where I talk about how I believe that most artists use producers too late in their careers. And instead of doing it all themselves and then getting a producer later on, after they've spent years and years getting better at songwriting, getting better at song arranging, all that stuff, I think it's flipped. I think what it should be is that you work with a producer as early in your career as you possibly can, learn as much as you can from them so that by the time you're much deeper into your career, you've got a sustainable income from your music. At that point, a producer, because you know all that you need to know, a producer is maybe you need it, maybe you don't. It's not as vital, but it's really vital early in your career, especially a really great producer who's going to help you with arranging and songwriting in addition to the things that they'll do in the studio to make sure that the recordings sound as great as possible. Second thing that's really great, link right over my shoulder as I talk about this, special guests. I think special guests are the best hack for getting attention, getting new fans, getting industry attention to your music. And some of them will charge, I think you'll be surprised. I think most of them are charging pretty modest amounts, but having money to invest in that, I think, is a great hack for a lot of different reasons, and I go into some detail there in the video over my shoulder. Live performance opportunities is the third thing. It's going to happen. At some point, you're going to be offered the opportunity to go on the road, to do a tour, opening for a band that's going to put you in front of a larger audience, and they're going to charge you for it. There will be a cost for that. That is, depending on the opportunity, can be a good opportunity. Now, there's plenty of times when it's a bad idea, really bad idea. So make sure that you talk to people you trust to find out whether the opportunity being presented to you is a good one. But when it is, you will need money to take advantage of that opportunity. They're probably not going to take a credit card. Last thing is learning. As I'm about to talk to you now about the amount of how you leverage your time, when you learn the music business, you learn things, it makes it faster to do things. You don't have to discover things for yourself. What you will find is that you can, there are plenty of hacks, ways to do things that will take you hours instead of weeks to do. And if you've got a little bit of money in order to make that investment to try to get that to happen, it's a really great thing. And I'm not just saying that because, say, sometimes I sell some stuff. There's a lot of people who give some really good advice, and when you know it's good advice, it can be a good investment in doing it, wherever it may come from. But there's a lot worse, there's a lot more who are doing really bad advice that they're selling, especially when it's really expensive, than there are people doing good. Okay, so leveraging time and money, you have one or the other. So you're either going to invest your time to learn things, to make opportunities happen, to create opportunities. You're going to use time to do that, or you're going to use money to do that, or it's going to be a blend of the two, right? And that's just the way it is for anything that you're pursuing, right? So you can either hire people to help you out with publicity, with social media, with Spotify playlisting and stuff like that, or you can do it yourself. And when you do it yourself, it'll take you a lot longer to do because you're not going to be as good at it. You're supposed to be a musician, not a social media expert, not a playlisting expert. So just keep that in mind. When you have a job that's generating you some money so that you can live, when you're reinvesting the extra into your career, you are constantly having that balance of time or money with the time that you've got left over. So in that spirit, whenever you have an opportunity to work for the same amount of money but in less time, take it. Even if it's something that you're not going to love doing. Sometimes it's better for your music career. And remember, your music career is where your focus is. So if you can make the same amount of money in 20 hours as a month ago you were making in 40 hours, even if it's something that you don't enjoy doing as much as you did for those 40 hours, look at all that time that now frees up in your week to invest in your music career, so now you can spend time instead of money making those opportunities happen for your career. It's an interesting balance, and it's something that sometimes you will make the wrong decision. Sometimes going for the money rather than the lifestyle of the job is not the right choice. So this is not carte blanche, but the more your music career is your focus, the more you should be seeking out opportunities to work less for the same amount of money. When you do have a job, and this is going to be where I wrap things up, and I'm going to go into a little bit of depth on this. When you are in a job, communicate with the employers early and often about your music career. And this can be things like if you are planning on spending time on the road in the next 12 months, that sort of thing, make sure that you let them know, hey, this is something that's going to happen at some point. Part of the reason that communicating this early and often will be the case, like if you're working perhaps like retail, or you're working in a service business, especially with service, right? Like there's just not going to be any work from home opportunities. There's not like they could give you an opportunity building their social media, right? But if you are in a job where that is an opportunity, working from home is a possibility, then spending a few months in the early times of that job where you're learning the skills that you need so that when you do go on the road, you can continue to earn money from that employer because you're able to work from the van. That can be invaluable. And it's just, and to mention, I should say that there will be a lot of things that you might be learning, especially in the field of digital marketing, that you can apply to your music career as well. So it's a really good opportunity to make money while you're on the road from your employer when you're able to work from home. And those opportunities will not come to you unless you communicate early and often with your employer that is something that you are looking at. Second thing, always keep in mind the balance between raises and responsibilities. Now, I was just talking about how if you can work for less time in order to make more money, you should do it, right? But also keep in mind responsibilities will sometimes come with raises when you're at that same employer. And when the responsibilities increase, the chance that your job is going to intrude on your focus, and your focus being your music career, that increases. And so you have to be very deliberate and careful about what types of increases in responsibilities you take from your job, and make sure that you've got boundaries that you're going to be able to respect and keep balance so that you can keep your focus on your music career. Remember, focus is on your music career. Your time is on your job. Okay. Last thing is, especially if you're early stages of your music career, having that social network of an employer, especially when you're in a place where there's a lot of people working there, those are going to be the people that you make friends with. They're going to come to your first shows. They're going to be the ones that will make a difference between when a promoter will bring you back to perform over and over and when they won't. When you're able to play on a Tuesday night and give them a profit, they'll book you again, and it may be on a Friday next time. So your co-workers, the people that you work with, are going to be a big step towards that, and just a part of that possibility. Second thing is, depending on where you work, maybe there's opportunities to display or sell your product and try to generate a little bit of extra income that way. I know, especially as your music career is taking off, you will be an attraction. People will start talking about how, hey, so-and-so from my favorite band works at this place, and they're going to start showing up. And if your stuff is displayed there to boot, it's going to be good for your employer just as like it's going to be good for you. And last thing is, again, really depends on your relationship with your employer, but there are sometimes opportunities for financial support from your employer. can be in the terms of like an advance or a loan. It could be in terms of like if they become a fan of your music, they want to invest in it just like anybody else would, like a bank would in a small business. And that can be a pretty awesome opportunity as well. But if you are keeping your music career secret from your employer, you might miss that opportunity. All right, so hope you enjoyed this video. Again, comments down below, let me know. Subscribe to my email list at outerloopcoaching.com. I've got free stuff that I send you as soon as you sign up. And I send emails nearly every day to help you focus on your music career the right way. And you do not have to spend money to do that. You learn a lot and you'll be able to leverage your time so much better. So I will see you next time. This is Paul from Outerloop Coaching, and peace.